that's like where you'll find like the underlying value. That's what I like looking at, because if I look at a property where the rent's under rent, for example, or under market rent, so you might be buying it for a lower yield now, but if you can get that rent up and you know what the base rate could be based on the direct comparison method, there's value that you can see straight away.
Well, that's what happened, mate. So, so you're getting what, roughly, probably about, say, call it 600K profit from that potential sell
Yeah,
into your super. So
yeah,
what's
yeah.
the plan with that one once you sell it?
I'll do it again basically. So like my plan will be to cash that out. I'll be left with probably 750, I'd imagine, to play with.
Yeah.
I'll leverage up again, buy something for probably 2.5 mil, with that value add component again, and give it 2 or 3 more years. I'll most likely sell it on the back of that, and then I'll be looking to, when I'm probably in, say 40 or early 40s, looking to buy that long-term set and forget type property in that mid 3 mil range will be the
Yeah.
plan.
G'day everyone, this is Iynka here. Welcome to Investor Journeys, where we chat with everyday Aussies and seasoned investors about their property journeys, the wins, the stuff ups, and everything in between. Whether they've got one property or a whole portfolio, we dive into how they did it, what they've learned, and what their journey's been like so far. No fluff, just real stories from real people. So let's get stuck in. G'day everyone, welcome back to another podcast. It's been a little while since we spoke to someone about their journey, and we've got a fantastic guest today. This chap that I've got here, we've known each other probably for the last, I'd say, 5 years or so. We got introduced through my own personal journey in commercial property, but today we're really just going to speak about his journey. So Liam, thanks for joining us, mate, and we've had your boss come on this podcast a little while ago. No doubt you'll smash him.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Liam, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself, mate, before we get into it?
Yeah, cool. So, currently I'm the general manager here at Palise Property. So just overseeing the business day to day, really, with Steve. Just helping out with the business, growing that, and looking at properties every day, and just improving systems, processes, that kind of stuff with the business. So, that's sort of my day today nowadays, and do some other stuff on the side with like property developments that we're sort of doing now as well. But my original career was civil engineering, so I did civil engineering for about 10 years or thereabouts. So grew up in a small country town called Yass, like near Canberra there. Just sort of fell into engineering or property in a way back then. So I did work experience when I was about 16 with our family friend who was a big developer in Canberra, and he sort of showed me around different aspects of construction, engineering. Did some town planning stuff, sat in engineering offices, worked with architects, did our own stuff for that sort of few weeks, do a work experience, and then wanted to be like Stan, this developer, to be honest, that I knew growing up. And that was sort of where the career first started. I thought I'd do engineering as a degree to get to that point. Ended up building roads, which didn't really line up where I wanted to be. So it was a good career though. Like learned a lot of met a lot of good people, and income's quite good in engineering too. So that sort of helped out with my personal portfolio journey as I started doing that, and just got to the point where family come along after about 9-10 years and kids, and the whole engineering career didn't really make sense anymore. So
Mate, yeah, you're speaking my language. I mean, I was an electrical engineer in construction since 2006, and as soon as the family came, I'll switch gears as well into property. So it's funny how engineering takes a back seat when a lot of the priorities come in the personal life. You mentioned civil engineering. Did you know Steve? Because I know Steve, your boss was in civil engineering before. Was that just a coincidence?
Yeah, just a big coincidence, to be honest. Like, so, back during COVID, my wife's from the UK, so we couldn't see her family for a period, and no one knew what was going on back then, obviously, either. So, we applied to the government back, it's probably late 2021, maybe, got an exemption to go over to the UK. Weren't sure how we'd be there for 3 months, 6 months, a year. Didn't really know at the time, but it was like, oh, let's pack things up. And took on service leave. And then when I was in the UK, coincidentally, met up with Steve. And then sort of that was early days in his business. It was just him and his brother Jeff at the time. And then we sort of got chatting. And then the engineering career took a bit of a just change of pace. Really, I didn't really need to be doing it anymore. And they were going to move me on a different project further away from home. So that was just a thing. I was like, oh, stuff. I'm just going to, throw the engineering career in the bin, which mum and dad weren't too pleased with when I first sort of made the decision to, leave that career to something completely unknown, to be honest. And even, commercial buyers agency back then was a very new thing. There was only sort of one main player, and, so I jumped into that. And it was funny, even back when I first started, then you'd call up commercial agents and I'll go, hey, it's Liam from Palise Property. We're a commercial buyers agency. And they're like, who are you? What are you doing? I'm like, this is a great idea. So,
well, that
yeah.
you joined them what, late 21, early 22. I'm just trying to think back to my acquisition, which was around April 22. So you guys were very new back then.
Yeah, probably 12. Yeah, so Steve would have, he started the business himself early 2021, I reckon it would have been. Yeah, but he'd been around like in other buyers agencies, for probably 7 years prior to that. And so, yeah, he sort of had a lot of experience in the industry prior. And then just sort of, yeah, me and him connected just sort of coincidentally, and both had very, yeah, like you said before, similar journeys being engineers and, both in property personally, and just sort of didn't need to be doing engineering career as much anymore and wanted more flexibility. And, our life, Steve was sort of more in the traveling part of his life, whereas I was, I was prior to him having kids, whereas I was, a bit more progressed with, having a 10-month-old when I sort of pulled the pin on engineering. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Well, I love Steve, but let's get him out of the conversation here. We'll talk about yourself. So, when you were growing up, you said you were growing up in near Canberra and all that. What was investment or money, financial discussions ever talked around the dinner table for you? Was it ever a conversation?
Not really. Like nothing. Like my parents never invested in property or anything. Wasn't really a thing growing up. Like mum and dad sort of ran their own business in Yass there. Dad was the mayor of Yass for about 10 years as well, which was it's one of those situations where, it's a small country town anyway. Like everyone knows everyone around Yass, but even more so for us because Dad being the mayor, like everyone knew who he was, so we're all involved in all the sports and different events, those sort of things around town. So, but yeah, like money was really never a discussion or investments or that sort of stuff. It was sort of always like Stan, that developer mentioned before. He would come around to the house, and because Dad was the mayor, he'd always be sort of talking to him about certain things he was trying to do in town or developments, whether it be big land subdivisions or that sort of stuff. Like he'd just be curious to see what's going on in town, and so that was sort of where that sort of part of it started for me. Yeah, there was never really a money discussion. It was a bit sort of a little bit later on, to be honest, like where um my mum had cancer probably 15 years ago now. So no, she's good now. But when I was sitting, this is probably when I just started engineering. When she was getting treatment, I was in like a little news agency nearby, and they had like all the old API magazines there. And so I got drawn to that, and I was literally picked those up, and I was wanting a distraction from where I was. And that was literally where I first started. So then when I got that magazine, like I then got mum and dad to pay for that. Was my birthday present. I said, "Oh, can you give me a subscription for this?" My birthday present. So that was literally every single month I'd get the thing at my door, and that was I got them. I actually sold them to someone a little while back. I had like probably 2 or 3 years worth of them. Yeah, yeah. But that was where I first started learning it, and yeah, picking it all up.
I mean, coming from an engineering background, you probably had the analytical mind like myself, and love to see the numbers and everything, and see how things actually performed, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I used to go through it. Me engineering, the same thing. But they had the old back in the magazine. It was what the growth had been, what the yields were, all that sort of stuff. And like I because I was looking around the South Coast here when I was first looking to buy property back in that 2013, 14, maybe around there. And I had my own spreadsheet, so I was like literally tracking. I'd get all the data from those magazines, put it in my own Excel spreadsheet, and I'd be trying to track, like where like growth rates were, where like days on market were tracking. Like I was doing that myself back in the day.
And you weren't even involved with property at the time.
Nah, nah. So I was just the weird engineering brain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mate. I mean, oh, look, I don't know if I should even tell the story, but I remember when I was like 6 or 7, we used to get the paper, and back then the newspaper was quite a big thing. That's where we got the news, and there was a section about how much rainfall came, and I think they even measured like the grass growth or something like that. And I just used to look at those numbers and track them as I was young. I said it must
yeah,
be something to do with our brains back then, because I didn't look at any
yeah,
words, and I was obviously really bad at English when I was small. But it was those numbers that I kept tracking, and I was like, wow, like this is amazing. I just kept getting it every day, just looking at it.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
that's a bit of an embarrassing moment. But so do you miss the country at all? Like living in the country? You kind of are from memory. Are you in this Shy now?
Nah, further south, so Kiama. It's we're in Kiama now. But yeah, it's got a similar sort of vibe in a way. Like yeah, like we're not far from like places like Jamboree, which is literally 5 to 10 minutes away. That's more or less like country, but that's sort of you do miss it in a way. Like it's sort of where you know everyone. But where we've moved to now, like it is very much like a smaller community. Like it's not a we're just out of crime a little bit. So it's like all the kids at school, like my son goes to now, like everyone knows all the parents, and it's just like a nice little community. So we sort of got that back in a way where we are now. So, but yeah, it's definitely a different place to grow up in the country compared to or in the city especially, but where we are now on the coast.
Not far from the coast, which is great. And how old's your
Mm.
youngest one? I remember quite young at the moment.
Yeah, got a 10-month-old as well. So so eldest one's 5.5, then 3.5, and then 10 months. So we're in the thick of it now, but it's good fun.
Oh, I'm sure it's good fun. So tell me, mate, you've gone from civil engineering, and you've spoken briefly about property investment, but tell me about your first property and what your mindset was like going through that journey of getting your first one.
So I do a lot of research on the area to spoke about like around the south coast here, and we sort of had that mentality, like well, probably more so me, my wife got dragged along. But just with not trying to transact too many times, you see, like, I sort of saw like on the back of those magazines or different articles you'd read where people would like buy like a unit, for example, you'd live there for a bit, then they might hold that unit for a period, it wouldn't go in value, then they maybe hold on to it to refinance it and then buy the house they might live in. So and that would have been probably better for us. Like we were probably in our early 20s at the time. So being closer to, near the cafes, the restaurants, nightclubs, that sort of stuff, people want to be near that. But we sort of made the decision to buy and also build further out in a place called Tullambar, which was a bit of a growth corridor that I sort of picked up on.
For those who don't know, whereabouts is that roughly geographically?
It's like 15 minutes from Wollongong, sort of on the south side of Wollongong there. So yeah, we bought and built there. Originally, so took advantage of the first time owner grants and stamp duty concessions, that sort of stuff back in the day. So looked at all those avenues to try and go, okay, well, I've got might have been like 50 grand, 80 grand at the time to fund a deposit and costs. So we just utilized that at the time to just buy that house and hopefully get the growth out of it, which did eventuate later on. So yeah, utilize that, and then just with work, to be honest, it sort of worked out quite well because I was mostly doing work in the south coast here. So I did jobs around like Gerringong and Berry and those sort of places. And then got tapped on the shoulder at one point to go and build a wind farm, which was a place called Armidale, which is like way up near the Queensland border, middle of nowhere basically. And or a place called Glen Innes, which is where the wind farm was. But then when I moved there, I got paid a living away from home allowance. So I then classed my home, which was actually under construction. So we got paid rent effectively to live where we were, but then also got an allowance to sort of cover it. So it ended up making our cash flow situation better because I wasn't really servicing another house kind of thing. So there was a bit of a you know good circumstance in a way that we managed to sort of pull all those levers when it come to the money I was getting from work, and then all the stamp duty concessions and first home owners grant. So literally just used every single avenue I could to try and pull it all together. And yeah, that was sort of where we first started. And when I finished that job, then we come back and worked out quite well before we got married. We moved in literally. I think we moved into the house 2 weeks before our wedding day. So
Wow. What year are we talking?
2016, I think it was.
So it's about a decade ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you moved in 2 weeks before the wedding.
Yeah. So again, my wife being from the UK, so we had all our family moving out, or not moving out, just coming out for the wedding.
Yeah.
So we had to push the builder to go, hey, like there was walls that weren't painted, and there was, like there was no landscaping. Obviously, there's always things that weren't quite done. Like, we don't really care. Just like get us in the house so we can at least get everyone somewhere to sleep for the next week or two before we get married. And
Gee whiz. Talk about stressful times.
yeah, nothing's really changed. I've got bloody 3 kids now, and this, run this business and building a house now again. So
Well, that's a good point. Like, would you, looking back at that one, would you change anything in terms of building? I suppose now, back then, the building costs were way different to what it is now.
yeah,
Would you change anything?
no, like it sort of served the purpose in a way, like because we were able to live in that house for 6 years, I think it was, before we sold that house, 6-7 years. So like it served a longer purpose. Where if we bought an apartment, for example, we would have been there for 2 or 3 years. We would have had to then either sell it, pay all the selling costs. So that's all dead money. Then you got to go and buy something else. You pay stamp duty again on the way in. So that was the whole thing. You're trying to avoid all those other sunken or dead costs into buying another asset just to upgrade. And we sort of made that bigger jump sort of early, if that makes sense, to avoid those extra steps, which sort of helped us, build the rest of the portfolio out to where we are now.
So you still got it?
No, we sold it when we moved to where we are now. So
Make some money on it?
yeah, doubled in value, more or less. So so I just sort of made that choice to, which we've done on a few things now, just to do a big restructure in the portfolio, similar to what you're doing now, in a way, just to clear some debts and just do some other stuff, to be able to sort of just hit reset and sort of take the next step and just grow the portfolio.
So from there, you're living in that for 6 years or so. During that time, did you buy any other resi investments?
Yeah. So I bought another 5.
Oh, okay.
So
do you want to run through those?
Yeah, so we pretty much bought every year, to be honest. Like, so I was again working engineering, saving pretty well every year. So first one was in Tassie, in Launceston. That would have been 2018. Bought the first one there, about 300 grand, just a pretty big block. Still got it now.
I was gonna say you might be doing all right over the last little while.
Yeah, I think it'll keep doing well. Like we're that's one market I'm liking again now. Like it sort of went quiet for a bit there, but it's definitely picking up again now.
We're there as well. Yep.
Yeah, so that one, it's just an old house, big block of land. I could subdivide it at some point in the future, but not. I haven't got any plans to anytime soon. But that's just been a good, just growth one for us. Early days, and then after that, bought in Townsville. Bought one up there. Just a similar sort of thing, just big house, big block of land. Pretty good yield back then too. That one I've since sold. That one pretty much doubled in value in the 6 years that we held it.
So you must have sold it sort of recently, I'm assuming.
Yeah, sold that one. When that one started this year, it settled, I think it was.
Yeah.
So we sold it back end of last year.
Yep.
And then settled in early January, I think it was. So that one we paid $365 for and sold it for $720.
Nice, fantastic.
So just in and out, like it just got whooping that out of it. It's still doing okay, that Townsville market, I think, but it's probably coming to the end of that cycle, I think. So
yeah, it's stabilizing. Well, can I ask before you carry on to the other ones, how did you, being an engineer, because I'm interested, because I was an engineer, and you've done extremely well in the sense that you were looking into state. My first investments were all in the same state as per probably majority of investors out there when I first started. So how did you know how to look for these other properties and where to find them? I don't know if did you use a buyer's agent at that time?
Yeah, I had a couple. Well, one that I used early days. The But I sort of did my own research too, like, because I was going to buy on the Sunny Coast originally with my first pay before I bought land Launceston, which would have done equally well, to be honest. But like I did that like Margaret Lomas. I did her course back in the day.
Right.
Like read all these different books, like literally every property book you can find.
Yeah.
I would have read, and it's funny now working with Steve. Which I don't want to get on Steve again, but a lot of those books that you'll see in the property space, they're all written by the same sort of people. If that makes sense. Like they're
Yeah.
all obviously got their own name to it, but there were a few books that I read. I read one book and then another book very shortly after, and it was almost copy and paste. Like the structure was the same, there was the same content. I was like, this doesn't add up. And then I was like talking to Steve about his book, and then when he wrote the commercial one initially, he was went to a publisher and was like, hey, I've got this book, I've written it. And she's like, what do you mean you've written it? He's like, I've written the book. Here's the book. Do you want to publish it? And she was like, well, normally you come to us with an idea. We'll help you write it.
Yeah, right.
So it all made sense when I was like, I've literally read these books, but they're all getting quite similar. And it's because they're all the same. It's just literally a bloody marketing tool, a lot of them, So
Steve's one was the first commercial one out, wasn't it? So there's not much to write from the previous ones. Yeah.
yeah. So I had all that sort of education back then. But I used Propertyology back in the day when I first started investing. So I quite like them. He's a good operator, Simon.
Simon's good. Simon's a good bloke. I like his I like his opinions and the way he portrays them.
Well, I think for us as engineers, I like the way he operates and the way he talks. But I think other
Yeah.
people that it probably can be a bit divisive sometimes. But he knows what he's talking about.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the whole regional and markets versus metro and everything, but he definitely knows. Yeah, I completely agree. He looks for the right things. Obviously, he's got the performance out of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So the first two I bought, and then after that we went to into Brisbane in the Redland Bay area. Ended up buying a townhouse there, so we only sort of had a deposit of what about 100 grand. Bought a newish townhouse there.
So this is roughly what, 2018, 2019?
2019 that would have been.
Yeah, okay. All right. So were you hit by then? I suppose you were 2 properties in plus your PPR. I'm just thinking about your borrowing capacity and whether you were hit by the APRA changes during that time.
No, like I used Tassie one was in my personal name. Then I set up, that's another thing I made a mistake on, to be honest. So I went and saw a local accountant at the time when I bought the one in Townsville.
Got the trust sorted.
And I had this great idea of, like building a big portfolio out, and, I talked to a broker at the time, and they were like, oh, you go do trust. So I was like, okay, sweet. That was, what the right thing to do was apparently. And then went to this accountant in Wollongong, and he was like, oh, you got to set a unit trust up. It's the best structure you can get. And I was like, okay, great, and then went and got that set up. And knowing what I know now, it's just a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You're buying a residential property in a unit trust. Like, why? It makes zero sense.
Well, I mean, I don't know many in a unit trust, because my understanding is it's when others get involved in the same purchase or something like that. Whereas obviously discretionary trusts, you can decide which beneficiaries to put it in. So was that the limitation in terms of putting it in a unit trust? What was the main issue?
It just didn't need to be done. It was just overkill. Like, I could have bought it in my personal name. I could have bought it in just a normal discretionary trust. But like, I've got some development sites that we own now, but they're in unit trust because they've got different partners involved. It's much more complex. Whereas a standalone resi property that you're buying for growth, typically, like, that does not need to be in a unit trust.
No, it doesn't. But did it help your borrowing capacity at least?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
But like all the establishment costs, and then
yeah.
Again, it didn't really impact me a whole lot, but some people might have, like the whole negative gearing benefit. I couldn't get back then either because it's all stuck inside that unit trust.
Yeah,
but it
absolutely.
helped out. It helped out later on anyway when it come to minimizing the tax I paid. Ended up being zero actually in the end, so I didn't actually pay any tax on that sale.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Just distraction. There's pros and cons to it. Like,
yeah.
But again, I'm not an accountant, but
didn't need to be done anyway. Overcomplicated it. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, people sort of, like, I went too far the other way. Like, I was sort of probably thinking 10 steps ahead and just literally just dial it back and go, okay, you're buying, a resi property. What's the plan with it? Probably get growth out of it, sell it. So if you don't have that long, if you're not going to hold it for longer term, the trust doesn't really serve the benefit to you typically a lot of the time.
And I think it's obviously more spoken about these days about trusts and lending and buying properties and trust, but back then it wasn't such common street talk, I suppose. So yeah, it's hard to get the overall advice on it. But I'm assuming you did pretty well out of that one.
The Brisbane one, my next one. Yes, that one again I sold.
Yep.
So we sold that one about a year ago now, probably.
Yep.
That one sold it for like 660, I think it was from memory. So I made 250 grand that one. I only held it for probably 4 years or so.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
I would have liked to have held it for longer, but the reason we sold it was because we're just about to move into our new house that we've spent a bit of money on, but the wife's happy, so so we sort of cleared off some debt. Yeah, that's right. That was what it was about, like, because it's that choice in which you talk about clients as well, you know. So like the whole idea of investing in property is to give you choice.
Yes.
And I could have, you know, sort of, you know, just put my engineering hat on, look at the numbers and go, nah, we don't want to move. We're going to be staying where we are now, keep the debt lower, keep investing. But we decided to, you know, with the young family we've got, let's buy the house or build the house we want to live in for the next 20 years whilst the kids are young now. And they, you know, we got some friends that they were telling me stories when they grew up and their parents were, you know, although they were probably 16 years old, their parents then went and built the whopping house that they, you know, were the forever home, and the kids move out 3 years later. And you're like, well, I'm in this massive house that, you know, that no one's here. So,
absolutely.
You know, so we sort of had that thought around just doing it now. Like it's probably taking a step back financially in a way, like, but it's that the time you don't get back when the kids are young.
Oh, absolutely no, and it's not like you've got no other investments, mate. So yeah. So you've sold that one, and you bought a couple more after that, or one more.
Yep. Yeah. Then to Melbourne. So I bought in Melbourne. That one we sort of held for just a short period, like 2 years. Didn't really make any gain out of it. It sort of just bought on the back of that COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably hasn't. And to be fair, I bought one in 2018, which hasn't really moved at all, and that's 8 years ago. So yeah.
So we sort of just gotten out of that again, and just with more so borrowing, that sort of just limited us a little bit. So I just didn't want to hold it at the time, so I ended up selling it. Didn't make any, didn't lose anything, didn't make anything really on it.
Yep. Out of all those, you've kept the Launceston one.
Yeah, just the one resi now I've got left. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've obviously got your PPR that you're going on, but I know you made a bit of a step into the commercial space as well after that, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I've done a few things on the back of it recently. So Super was one of them. So yeah, we bought a commercial in Perth 2 years ago now. In Super we paid about $845 for that, just a pretty vanilla concrete box basically with a tenant on a 3-year lease. And I bought it mainly because the mezzanine was unapproved. So it's about a 350 square meter warehouse. The mezzanine is 190 square meters. But a lot of the time you'll see in commercial that the sellers will apportion the sale rate to the whole area if it's approved or not, and they'll just hope buyers don't pick up on it, and they'll get a bigger price, obviously. The seller...
Did you negotiate on that?
Well, the seller didn't even, it was off market. So yeah, the price is only on the base rate, which makes sense. So that was what we paid.
Because it was unapproved. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was about 2,200 a square meter on the build area, which was quite good buying anyway, in my opinion, regardless of mezzanine being there or not.
Yeah.
So I knew the plan with that and my Super is to just sort of scale it and as quick as I can.
Can you talk through a little bit more about, so just for the listeners out there who aren't familiar with commercial, traditionally speaking, the value is based on a square meter rate, and that square meter is based on all of the approved area within the building, isn't it? If it's say a warehouse or something like that. So if you got a mezzanine, approved mezzanine, that adds onto the area, which obviously adds onto the price. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So like when we look at any property, we'll apportion a different rate in a way. So like if it's like just a very blank canvas open plan warehouse, that's one rate that will apply depending on the area, obviously. Then you've got, if it's just a mezzanine for storage, it's a different rate again. If you've got an office space, different rate again. So you sort of have like a blended rate across the total area.
Yep.
If it's approved, obviously, and that's you'll value it one way, which is that's like the comparison method it's called. So you're just looking for like properties and comparing it against it.
Yep.
The other way is on the cap rate. So you're looking at the total rent you're getting on the property versus what the cap rate is in the area. So you just look at that, and then they'll compare the two. So one's on the cap rate method, one's on the direct comparison. They'll sort of compare which is, because it should be pretty similar a lot of the time, but
Yeah.
but that's like where you'll find like the underlying value. That's what I like looking at, because if I look at a property where the rent's under rent, for example, or under market rent, so you might be buying it for a lower yield now, but if you can get that rent up and you know what the base rate could be based on the direct comparison method, there's value that you can see straight away.
Well, that's what happened with the property you guys got for me, because I paid 700 for that Perth property. I think it's about 450 square meter warehouse, but it was well under rented, and we ended up, like, the lease was up, I think, in a couple of years, so we put it up to what it should be, and they signed a 5+5, and that the value just went skyrocketing. So that's an important point about finding places that are under rented. It is you can do very well out of that, can't you?
Well, it's a good point, and the right areas too, because like the one
Yes.
you bought too is in an area where there's not a whole lot of stock coming to market. So you got very sticky tenants, you got established tenants. They don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They've got a good business, and they'll happily pay market rent, because if they move out, they're going to pay moving costs, and they'll pay market rent somewhere else regardless.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you got the benefit of obviously no vacancy, plus you've got the upside of the tenant getting a new lease, more income, and then more equity. So
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm also thinking, I mean, look, I'm not looking to sell it anytime, but I was thinking about the mezzanine whole situation and whether there's ability later on to put one in. But that's something for probably in the future if they decide to move out. Because at the moment it's doing what I need. Yeah, yeah. Right. So you got that one in super. You've added the mezzanine now?
no, still like it's already there. So it was already like when it was so I'm sort of working through that process now, and just talking to agents as well, because some of the agents are indicating now that it's worth more vacant, the property I've got now. So there's a lease that runs out in December. So
Right.
they've got an option for 3 more years. So if they don't renew, like I'm going to sell it regardless, but I'm hoping they don't renew it, which will then therefore mean I've already got some appraisals as it is right now for like 1.5. So I'll effectively double my money in, call it 2.5 years, 3 years.
Unbelievable. And why is it that they're saying that it's better vacant? Is that because of the owner occupiers that are looking to buy it?
That's the demand, yeah. So
Really?
they'll pay more than what we pay as an investor typically. So the rents will still go up based on where market rents are now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably worth, if it was a brand new lease at market rent, it's probably worth 1.35, 1.4.
Yeah.
But I'll get another 100 grand more, because just literally there's no supply in that market right now.
That's exactly what it is, isn't it? It's supply issues that owner occupiers can't find, which is causing that value to go up. That's really interesting. I always assumed that your value has increased in commercial based on the WALE and the lease on the property, but they're actually saying that you'll get a high appraisal without it.
And where upside is.
Yeah, absolutely. Commercial you've got to look at it in a different lens, and I think there's definitely commonalities with residential, but it's just so much more focused on the, because when I say commonalities, you still need to look at the infrastructure, the government spending, the economy, and everything, right? Because ultimately you're targeting businesses that want to move into those areas. But there's just so many other things, especially depending on the asset. Retail, you got to have the foot traffic and everything, and industrial, you want to get in established areas with good routes, from transport, and it's really an interesting space. But back on your journey. So I knew this would happen, mate. So so you're getting what, roughly, probably about, say, call it 600K profit from that potential sell into your super. So what's the plan with that one once you sell it?
I'll do it again, basically. So like my plan will be to cash that out. I'll be left with probably 750, I'd imagine, to play with.
Yeah.
I'll leverage up again, buy something for probably 2.5 mil, with that value add component again, and give it 2 or 3 more years. I'll most likely sell it on the back of that, and then I'll be looking to, when I'm probably in, say 40 or early 40s, looking to buy that long-term set and forget type property in that mid 3 mil range will be the
Yeah.
plan. Then I'll just hold, to pay down, and then potentially depending on how contributions are, what the income is at that point in time from the money coming in.
Yeah.
And if I get another deposit in 10 years' time, I buy when I'm 50, buy a second one for 1 to 1.5 mil or a bit more even,
Just diversify.
and then just aim to have effectively 5 mil of property or more, or in today's dollars anyway, fully paid off when I retire.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah.
just inside super, yeah.
Yeah, and that shows the power of commercial with respect to the lease and the. I mean, we can go on about the how it can pay itself off much higher than resi, and that's why we always tell our clients resi is a fantastic space to leverage into, but you need to transition into other types of assets, just like commercial, to get the incomes that you want to generate in your retirement. So that's a great example. So your resi, are you planning to sell the other ones off? Well, I suppose it's only Launceston now, isn't it?
That's the only one, yeah. So the other
Yeah.
ones I've got on the go now are
Yep.
other development sites. So that's sort of where I transitioned across from. So sort of sold off onto the Resi portfolio to generate some extra cash to then fund the build we're doing now. So
Yep.
we should move in next Friday, hopefully, is the plan.
Yeah. Well, the obvious question then is, are you planning to get into commercial in your personal name as opposed to super?
That'll be the next bit, yeah. So I'll be
Yeah.
I've sort of taken a bit of a sideways stepping away with that. So just put more into on the house and then development stuff to then just to get it a bigger deposit, really. So we've got 2 development sites we're doing now, both down the south coast here. So we paid one was 2.2 mil for the land.
Oh, right.
So we had some cash for that, and then we've got that structured a bit differently. So we got that one. So we secured the land. There's not just an older house on a 650 square meter block. Got CDC approval for a duplex on that. Got investor funds, so we pulled out some of our cash from that project. So got investors back in, paid them a return on that.
Yep.
That'll be done October probably. So looking to.
How did you run that process of getting investor funding? Was it private?
Yeah, mostly private, people that we knew personally.
Okay.
Got access to them, just put them on loan agreements. So we just got people that have got money in. Well, they've got equity in their house, they've got cash, they've got money in super even.
Yeah.
So people that we've just got, in our own network that we've gone back out to and said, look, here's this project, here's the numbers. Gave them a 20% return, which is quite generous, to be honest. So we've got some people that, like I've got 200 grand, for example, and then by the time this is all done, this could be a 2-year project, just round figures, they're going to be making 80 grand.
Yeah, not bad.
So it's pretty good money. And like
Yeah.
you compare it to residential, like if you go and buy resi, you got 200 grand in super, you buy a resi, well, you can't anymore. But if you could, like you go and do that, you might go and get a growth asset, if it grows, even 10% a year, and you might be buying something 600 grand, then you got to pay, all the stamp duty, legal fees, tax, and,
Yep.
all the holding costs. Like it sort of outweighs it sometimes
Yeah.
compared to
Yeah.
doing a development. Obviously, there's more risk in development, so you got to weigh that up for yourself individually, but just a different avenue of looking at investing, so we can sort of help people those avenues, and then we get the benefit too of the profit on the back end of it. We've, secured the site, done the work, builders, more or less through it now. They'll be hopefully done by October. We'll lot on the market and sell those by the end of the year as a plan.
Awesome.
And then, hold that cash and.
Yeah. Well, so the next question I had was, what's the end goal, mate? Are you planning to keep doing developments for the foreseeable future, or you said you might get into the commercial space in your personal name? What's the end goal, and then beyond?
Probably both, to be honest. Like I just enjoy with engineering mindset. I like building things and
Yeah.
doing that as well. So like I always want to be just to be active in that sort of space, just doing some projects, getting, other people that we know the outcome as well when it comes to the investor return they can get. And then I'll use that income to just keep buying more commercial, to be honest, and just buy. It's more about scaling it because I've sort of owned some cheaper stuff previously, and like we see it now, like it's getting more and more competitive in that sub 2 mil market now. So just trying to just beef that deposit up now. And then once this house is done, move into shortly, we'll get that refinance and see where we're sitting there. And so we use a fair bit of cash on that as well, just to keep the total debt lower as well.
Yeah.
So just sort of, like a lot of money's gone into that, which is just more of a personal thing now that we've decided to make that choice. And we'll get back into investing after this is all done, and then the wife's happy, and we'll be there for 15, 20 years, hopefully. You
can write a book with Steve at some point, mate.
Yeah, yep.
All the lessons learned. But no, that's incredible that you've been able to scale, from your resi purchases up to this sort of point. It's an amazing story, and there's not many people out there who have the courage to be able to do that. So it's obviously you guys are doing you're doing really well. The partner's on board with all your projects as well, I assume.
Yes and no. She wants me to slow down, but we've got two big ones going on now. There, the one I said before, we bought that one for 2.2 mil, and one around the corner, coincidentally, that come up, and that was a larger one. That one's like 2.4. We paid for the land on that one. They just started construction there recently, and they're doing the basement dig out and stuff like that. So that's like a 3.3 mil build. That one's quite hefty, but we'll probably sell each side for 4 mil. That looks like, which is good.
What are you finding with the building trades at the moment and the costs and construction? Are you finding many issues with escalation and that kind of thing?
Yeah, just ebbs and flows. Like we had some builders we went out to quote on the most recent one start of the year, and they were like in the early 3 mil. Then all the fuel shortage stuff happened, and there's like a lot of materials like PVC pipe, for example, that was that went up through the roof. But as people take advantage of it, like where they'll use any excuse to
I know,
jack the price up, and so that price went up almost 10% on us. But we've got some buffers built in, so we'll be fine still. But it's just the good thing is we've got a little bit of time. Like that one would be done until end of probably this time next year, be getting close to being done, and so it should pick up by then, I'd imagine, the market again.
And are you, I might have missed it, but are you planning to sell all of them, or you've got to get any of them?
Nah, they're just build to sell. So we'll build those, sell them off, and get the games, and maybe do it again. There's a few sites I'm looking at now, but it's just probably too much going on right now to
yeah. You've got these two just starting, right? So no doubt, who knows what's going to happen with the with construction and then the economy and everything. But mate, I'd love to see at some point the end products, and I'm sure our viewers as well, mate. So hope it all goes well. And
thanks, mate.
You've obviously set yourself up in your super. You're doing amazing. So I think you're a real testament to how property investment should be done. So well done. I think you're doing some really great things.
Yeah, no, it's good to be involved. It's just trying to, take the leap, and it's hard to, get past the media that you'll read. No doubt, it's all negative. But people that do well, we see it all the time. The ones that take action, the ones that they just sort of see past that and just, don't overthink it, which is hard. Being an engineer, to be honest, you do overthink stuff. But just taking action is the biggest part of it.
Absolutely, it is not a 1 year horizon. It's a 10, 15 year plus game. So, mate, thanks so much for popping on. I really enjoyed this chat and hearing your story. And no doubt we'll obviously keep communicating with all our projects together. And wish you all the best with everything.
No, likewise, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. I know you're a busy man, so thanks again for popping on.
No, good. Cheers.
No problem. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. Again, if you guys know anyone who's got property investment who'd like to share their journey, please reach out to myself. But otherwise, I hope you really enjoyed that episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys. Hey, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the chat, feel free to drop us a rating on Spotify or wherever you listen. It helps us reach more listeners to help them with their journey. Catch you in the next episode.